My parents raised me on an accomplishment system. So for every A earned, I'd get $10. For every page of a book read, I'd get a penny. For every video sponsored, today's being Google Chrome, I would get capital to fund passion projects or increase my production value. I grew up being taught that hard work leads to reward. That reward usually being candy or comic books or Titanic on VHS. But I get it, not everybody has Asian parents to instill a work ethic in them from birth. So how exactly do you just get stuff done? Well, first, of course, I'd say, hey, would you like some candy? Come on. All you gotta do is turn in that paper. Look at this delicious candy. Come on. All you gotta do is turn over that 10-page MLA. Tasking actually leads to getting less done throughout the day. You have to focus on one task at a time. Now, in the days of tech, I know that can kind of seem counterintuitive because we have to use
So a couple of weeks ago, I made a community post asking you guys about what you needed help with the most right now. And the most upvoted comment was this one. How do you get things done when you're not in the right mindset? So that's going to be the subject of today's video. Now, for the purposes of this video, instead of using the word mindset, I'm going to use the word stories, because the stories that you tell yourself and believe in essentially make up the mindset that you have about life. Now, the thing is, without a proper story, it's pretty much impossible for you to get things done, at least consistently for long periods of time. And this is because your stories are actually your source of motivation. Let me explain. Before we had this whole worldwide crisis, most of us had a clear plan, a clear story that we believed in. And the most common story that people told themselves went something along the lines of, okay, I'm going to study hard, work hard, make good money, and this in turn will allow me to do whatever it is I think will make me happy. Whether it's to travel the world or to make my parents happy or to start a family or to grow a fulfilling business, that will make me happy. Right? Chances are most of us believed in some variation of this story. And because we believed in this story, we were motivated to study and to work and to be productive and all that because that was part of the plan. We believed that doing so would get us from point A to point B where happiness resides. But now that's not really the case anymore. Most of us don't have a clear idea of what's coming in regards to our community, in regards to the world economy, in regards to our own personal future. Most of us don't really believe in our old story anymore. But the thing is, without a proper story to believe in, planning for the future starts to seem pointless. Right? What's the point of studying for school if you don't even know if your degree will be useful after you graduate? What's the point of working out and sticking to a diet when you don't even know if you'll be going to any social events or on any dates anytime soon? What's the point of staying away from your bad habits if there isn't a bright future waiting for you? And when you start thinking like this, it becomes near impossible to sacrifice instant gratification for your future self, because the phrase, "what's the point?" is going to be constantly lingering in the back of your mind. In order to combat this, you need to find a new story that you can buy into. And the only real requirements you have to keep in mind when crafting such a story is that number one, it should be a story that you find to be believable. And number two, it should be a story that inspires hope, where the future is better. Other than that, there are no requirements, which is why I can't tell you what story you should believe in. You sort of have to figure that out on your own. But if you're interested, let me tell you my story. So I believe that the virus is going to mess up the world economy on a scale that we've never seen before. This will cause us to enter the worst depression in modern history. Most of my family and loved ones, who are basically all from New York City, will have an extremely hard time finding work in the coming years, and it will be up to me to support them financially. Therefore, I must work twice as hard to create more videos and to take on more projects so I have a good source of income, to read up on the economy and to make smart investments so I can protect and grow my wealth, to stay in shape and to eat well so I can stay healthy, and to generally just be on my A game, because that's the only way I'll be able to protect my family.
Higher education is facing a global crisis. Around the world,
A study was conducted in 1998 at Columbia University by a Professor Claudia M. Mueller. She took a large group of fifth graders and had them work on numerous puzzles by themselves. Now, these were very challenging puzzles, but regardless of how well each child did, he or she was told that they scored very well, that they did better than most of the other kids. Afterwards, half of these students were told that they scored high because they worked hard, while the other half were told that it was all because they were smart and gifted. Then they presented each student with 3 more types of puzzles to work on: easy ones, medium difficulty ones, and extremely challenging ones. And what they found was very interesting. The students who were told that they did well because they were smart spent the majority of their time on the easy puzzles. They spent almost no time on the extremely challenging puzzles and spent much less time overall trying to solve any of the puzzles, which was a sign of lower levels of motivation. And to top it all off, when asked whether or not they enjoyed the experiment, they said that it wasn't that fun for them. On the other hand, the students who were told that they did well because they worked hard spent the majority of their time focused on the harder puzzles. They also spent a lot more time overall attempting to solve any of the puzzles, which was a sign of an increase in levels of motivation. And to top it all off, after the experiment, they said that they actually enjoyed the entire experience. So what can we learn from this study? Well, there's a concept called the locus of control, which is essentially the degree to which you believe you have control over your life. The kids who were told that they did well because they were smart and gifted were led to believe in what's called an external locus of control. They were led to believe that factors outside of what they could control were the reason they did well, right? You can't control whether or not you're born smart. On the other hand, the kids who were told they did well because they worked hard started to believe in what's called an internal locus of control. They believed that it was factors they controlled that led to their outcomes. It was their hard work and their extra effort that allowed them to do well on the puzzles, right? Because how much work you put into something is something that you have complete control over. Now, studies on the locus of control like this one have found time and time again that having an internal locus of control is the key to staying motivated. You must feel like you have control over your life and that you are responsible for the things that happen to you if you want to feel motivated all of the time. I saw this happen with my own eyes back in the day when I was in charge of a sales team. This wasn't retail sales or car sales. This was old school door-to-door sales, which has one of the highest turnover rates. Most people only last a week before quitting. See, you need to be an extremely motivated individual to be able to face hundreds and hundreds of rejections every single day before someone even considers buying something from you. Now, over time, I was able to develop a keen eye for who would actually last, who I should spend more time and energy training. All I had to do was ask a simple question when a new salesperson on my team was confronted with their first bad day, a day in which they made no sales. I would ask them, "Why do you think you made no sales today?" And I would see how they would respond. If they blamed things like the weather, the fact that it's a weekend and nobody wants to be bothered on the weekends, or because it was the neighborhood, I would instantly know that they wouldn't last because they had an external locus of control. They believed that the reason they couldn't make any sales was because of factors outside of their control. And because of this, they spent less time knocking on doors, which was ultimately the real reason why they weren't making any sales. That's the curse of having an external locus of control. When you feel like nothing you do matters, you stop working, you stop trying. Because what's the point of trying when the world's conspiring against you, right? So how do we adopt an internal locus of control so that we can start feeling motivated all of the time? Well, they found that the best way to do so is by simply solving problems in your own life and then taking some time and appreciating the fact that it was your actions that solved this problem. I'll give you an example just to make things more clear. Let's say you're someone who struggles with falling asleep. So you go do some research and you find out if you get some more sunlight in the morning, if you only use your bed for sleeping, and if you install a blue light filter on your phone, that should drastically increase your ability to sleep faster when bedtime comes around. You do all of those things and lo and behold, you find yourself sleeping 15 minutes faster than before. When you notice this improvement, you need to say to yourself, wow, it was because of the changes I made, because of the effort I put in that I am now able to sleep better. It's that simple. Build up that belief that you are in control of your destiny, that you have an internal locus of control, and you will never have issues with motivation in your life again. This episode is brought to you with the help of the guys at Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community for creators with more than 25,000 classes in design, business, and much, much more. If there's something you want to learn and improve on, chances are there's a class on that exact subject on Skillshare. Click on the link in the description box below to get a 2-month free trial, after which it will only cost $10 a month to remain a member. I suggest you guys to check out the Productivity Today course, which essentially teaches you ways to increase and improve your attention span, which we all know needs to be worked on. Taking this course will allow you to focus and get more things done, which is a great way to develop that internal locus of control so you will feel even more motivated in the future. So I definitely recommend you guys to check it out. Besides that, guys, stay tuned.